rolling because I look like death, so I'm not going to
Okay, sounds good.
1, 2, 3. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Recording.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Small. Most of you already know me. I am a health and mindset coach for women with autoimmune disease. My business is Autoimmune Tribe, again, as most of you already know. I also work as a bioenergetic practitioner and a yoga teacher, a certified vibrational crystal healer, and a tarot card reader, all of which bring lots of joy into my life. But of course, also a doTERRA wellness advocate. And my goal for today is just to show you guys how I combine all the things that I do, both in my business with oils to help my clients, but also how I use oils on a daily basis for my own autoimmune conditions and symptoms. So I struggle with celiac disease and fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is not classified as autoimmune, but it's often related to autoimmune issues. And then I just did some recent testing too, and I am being treated for some other things that are helping me understand why I've had so much anxiety lately, such as bacterial overgrowth, parasites, and high estrogen. So the thing about autoimmune disease is it's typically defined as a disease in which the body attacks itself, and it's often hard to diagnose. So many of the mechanisms behind autoimmune disease are really not understood. And so a lot of the information that I'm going to share with you guys today is more based on the symptoms and symptom relief, as well as the root of disease, but not specific to any one autoimmune disease, but all of them in general, because a lot of them share the same symptoms. So another point that I just want to make before I dive in is that I just saw this Heal documentary. It's traveling, kind of touring around the US right now, and actually internationally. I know it's showing in I believe London as well, but I highly recommend it if it's coming to your city. Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is PhD, quoted in the documentary that 90% of disease is caused by stress. And the whole documentary was really powerful in how we can treat disease beyond just the physical. So everything starts to root back to this little bugger of stress. And yes, stress like you have to write a term paper, or your kid was up all night, or you're worried about paying the bills, but also physiological stress, things like parasites or bacterial overgrowth or an infection or metabolic imbalances in your body. All of these things put stress on our body. The good news is that we have lots and lots of oils that help with different aspects of stress. So first, I just want to dive into how I use oils in my daily routine, both the oils and some of the doTERRA products as well. And so I'm just going to share those with you guys, starting with the LLV, which is a Lifelong Vitality Pack. It's doTERRA's best-selling product. I know many of you guys take this as well. But if you don't already, it comes with 3 different bottles here, and I do 2 in the morning and 2 at night. The full dose is 4 capsules or soft gels. And so the Omega, more specifically for autoimmune disease, and that's the wrong there. Can you guys see that? For good immune and brain health. And we need a proper balance of omega-6 to 3 ratio. And often in standard American diet and the way we eat, we have too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. And so this part of the LLV is supportive in starting to promote brain health, promote immunity. It's also really good for your skin. I noticed a big difference in my skin when I went on all of the whole LLV pack. Microplex is the food nutrient complex, and this is interesting. Something that, even if you do have autoimmune disease, you may not know, is that the immune system is a nutrient hog, like major hog. And so your body needs a lot of nutrients and energy in order to repair itself. And so that's part of why I love this part of the LLV, is that it helps support and get the nutrients that you need in order to really heal your body on a cellular level. And there's more information about all these like on doTERRA's site, or I'm happy to share it with you. I just wanted to share like the main reasons I use these for autoimmune. Alpha, the cellular vitality complex, is another one that more than likely, if you struggle with autoimmune disease or any sort of chronic illness or symptoms, your liver is probably backed up. And that's because it becomes overloaded. And it can become overloaded not just from drinking too much alcohol, which I think is what most people think of, but also from things like too much estrogen. Your liver helps metabolize and detox too much estrogen, high estrogen in your body. That we also have so many toxins in our life and in this world that we live in. And so, we're constantly being exposed to, even like tap water that might have like fluoride or different contaminants in it, and the air that we breathe and the products that we put on our skin if we're not using doTERRA products. So our liver gets overloaded, and so the alpha helps liver support. Especially it has milk thistle in it, and that's one of my favorite things for liver support. I was taking milk thistle on its own before I started taking this, and I realized I could just nix that supplement and replace it with this. It's also really good for your skin because your skin is your largest organ, and when your liver gets backed up, often you see symptoms of liver backup in your skin because your skin's trying to help compensate for what the liver isn't able to do, and so the skin often you'll get like breakouts, and I saw that when my liver, knowingly that my liver was really backed up, my skin was really breaking out. So also good for skin health. Deep Blue, everything. I really love Deep Blue. And so these are all things I use on a daily basis. The Deep Blue Rub is my favorite. It's just really easy. It fits in my purse. And I, with fibromyalgia, have a lot of inflammation and pain chronically every day. It's gotten a lot better with diet and lifestyle change as well as solutions like this. And so I will often put this just on my neck and shoulders throughout the entire day when I'm starting to feel pain. And then at night as well, I love to use this to help me start to like actually relax my muscles before I go to bed. And so good for inflammation. And then the actual Deep Blue complex, the supplement, I just ran out, and so this one's brand new. It hasn't even opened yet. They're different blends. Some of you may already know that, but this is for internal use and this is for topical use, so they have different ingredients. Some examples of what's in the Deep Blue pill is like frankincense, ginger, pomegranate, turmeric or curcumin. So these are all really good things that are anti-inflammatory. And another thing about autoimmune disease, so maybe you struggle with rheumatoid arthritis, any inflammation in your joints or in your body, you can use either of these topically or internally, respectively. But there's also oftentimes inflammation in the gut. And actually most of the world has what's called leaky gut, or permeability of the gut lining. And so in order to heal the gut lining, we need to reduce inflammation in the body and help support the regrowth and rebuilding of the gut lining, which is only one layer of tissue thick. So it's really easy to damage our gut, especially with the foods that we may be eating. And so it's especially important to reduce inflammation or throughout the entire body systemically, but I love to use these capsules to support inflammation in the gut, mitigate, not support, but reduce inflammation in the gut. Okay, so yeah, I love everything Deep Blue for fibro and for inflammation. And then the On Guard capsule. So again, I use a lot of the products, not just the pure essential oils. I don't think I've even mentioned one of those yet, but I will. On Guard's one that I don't necessarily do every day, but I do when I'm sick. Whereas the other ones I do every day. And I used to get sick all the time before I started really looking and treating autoimmune disease from a more holistic perspective. Because your immune system is compromised, it's easy to get sick. And so I use these On Guard soft gels whenever I feel like I'm getting sick or whenever I am sick or I'm around people that are sick because I teach yoga and I touch sweaty bodies all the time. So really trying to support immunity and my body with these On Guard soft gels. The whole On Guard line is great. I use the soap concentrate, the pure oil, the detergent. I use all of it, but I just want to show you guys this one. Mitomax, another one of the products versus pure oil. And this is made up of metabolic cofactors. And so we have many metabolic processes in our body that help support repair and energy and basic functions of our body, and also help us produce energy. And so if you have any sort of metabolic dysfunction, disorders, something might be backed up, or you might have a genetic mutation that's preventing your body from, for example, I have a genetic mutation which makes it hard for me to convert or metabolize estrogen. So that's part of why I have high estrogen, okay? And so when there's any sort of dysfunction in these metabolic processes, you might feel very, very fatigued. Another documentary, really like the documentaries lately that I watched recently, was called Unrest, and it was all about chronic fatigue syndrome. And many of us are really fatigued and we don't know it. We just think it's normal, but it's not, especially if it's hard to get out of bed every day, or you're feeling really tired at 3 p.m., that's not normal. So fatigue can really affect many of us who have autoimmune disease, because the body's trying to repair, and it's, immune system is a nutrient hog, and we're just not getting enough of everything beyond what specific disease we might be struggling with. So Mitomax is a lifesaver. This is going to help support those metabolic cofactors and give you energy, give you stamina throughout the day. And I don't use this every day, but I use it any days that I feel fatigued. My boyfriend's also a police officer, and he works the night shift, and I give him 2 Mitomax before he goes to work every night, and he's like, thank you. So it helps him stay up for his shift as well. Okay, a little bit more about skin, because I'm obsessed with skincare, because I've struggled so much with my skin. And I have another autoimmune issue, which is called vitiligo, which is just you lose pigmentation, or you lose melatonin, and so your immune cells attack the melatonin in your skin, and then they're damaged, and then you don't produce pigment in your skin anymore. So I have that vitiligo, which is more of these white spots, mixed with, I also have melasma, and melasma is a hyperpigmentation, so you're going to have more melatonin concentrated in different parts of your skin, and this is not autoimmune, whereas the vitiligo is, but melasma is typically symptomatic of high estrogen. So again, I know I have high estrogen, so that might be why. But how do we work on these things? And again, you may have skin issues because of backed up liver as well. And again, skin is our largest organ. So lately, I've been using a bunch of neroli. I got this at convention. You can see I'm already halfway gone. So I'm gonna have to order more of that soon. But I love the smell of this, but it also helps soothe the skin and even skin tone, which is something that I'm always trying to work on with the melasma and vitiligo. And I just apply this directly to my face. It's already diluted with the fractionated coconut oil. I really like this one. And a bonus of the neroli is it also helps with anxious feelings and reducing anxious feelings, which is something I also experience, maybe some of you experience. So even though I'm putting it on my face, it's still getting into my body, my bloodstream, and it's helping with anxiety as well. Another skincare one, I use the Immortelle, and I'm about halfway through that one too. But I was having a lot of breakouts, kind of more like cystic acne for a while, especially when I was discovering that I had a gluten allergy and autoimmune disease. And I wish I had this, because now whenever I have breakouts as they're healing, I use this, especially because it has the helichrysum, which is good for repairing any sort of breakage in the skin. But it also has rose and sandalwood, which are good for your skin. Rose is really good for any sort of infection, but sandalwood, good for your skin, that's why it's in here, but it's also testosterone balancing. So we want an even balance of our main sex hormones, which are estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. And the sandalwood is testosterone balancing. So again, little added benefit, even though, you know, you may be using this for anti-aging. It's our anti-aging roller ball. There's other benefits as well. What's next? Oh, I either use frankincense or copaiba, which I like couldn't find in my house before we started. And I'm kind of like low-key freaking out. I hope I didn't lose my copaiba. My copaiba is new. It's a new oil that actually just came back in stock for doTERRA. And I either use a drop of frankincense or copaiba under my tongue sublingually every day to support immune system, but also they both support anxious feelings or reducing anxious feelings as well. So it's more like a maintenance thing. I like frankincense for my skin as well. Okay, big thing for anyone with autoimmune disease that may, any autoimmune disease, because all disease begins in the gut, as Hippocrates once said, is digestion. And so oftentimes there's a lot of digestive symptoms, whether, you know, it's like bloat, gas, diarrhea, constipation, all of the things that no one wants to talk about. I talk to my clients about all the time, and how they can support digestion and leaky gut. And so Digest Zen, the digestive blend from doTERRA, and there's a whole line of these products as well, is one of my favorites, and has really supportive things in it like peppermint and ginger, caraway, coriander, tarragon, fennel, that are going to help soothe digestion. And for me, I apply this whenever I have any sort of bloat. I'll apply it directly to my abdomen, or dilute it and apply it to my abdomen, and my bloat just like literally disappears. It's amazing. And so I really like this. And digesting can also be good for anyone who's on like PPIs, proton pump inhibitors. Those are like acid reflux medication. I've worked with clients to help wean them off of those PPIs, which can be really harmful long term and do not get to the root of the issue, and replace it with things like Digest Zen. Okay, hormones. So again, autoimmune disease doesn't appear out of nowhere, right? There's always a root, and sometimes that root is hormone imbalance. And so it's really important for me and my body, and when I work with my clients, to help them support bringing their hormones back into balance. And so I use these, let's see, I grabbed 3 main ones here. So first of all, the Clary Calm. I think I got some of the face mask on my Clary Calm. It's a little dirty. But my Clary Calm is, yeah, it's really dirty. The oil's not though, just the container. Clary Calm is a monthly blend for women. I apply it directly to like my low abdomen, or like literally on the ovaries, right? And it has clary sage in it, lavender, bergamot, Roman chamomile, ylang-ylang, among others, cedarwood, and is going to help a lot with any sort of period pain, menstruation cramping, and overall hormone balance, because it has the clary sage in it as well. And I don't necessarily struggle with a lot of menstruation issues, but clients do, and endometriosis is a autoimmune disease that affects a lot of women, and fertility issues as well, but also, you know, when they're at their time of month, they oftentimes have so much pain that they can't leave the house, can't leave the bed, and this has worked really, really well for clients that struggle with that type of pain to be able to function and live a normal life. Clary sage, as I mentioned, is inside of the Clary Calm roller ball, but I like to use this one on its own as well. This is one of my favorite oils. I use it on the bottoms of my feet or on my abdomen for estrogen balance. So it's estrogen balancing and cortisol balancing for the body. So regardless of whether you have high or low estrogen or cortisol being your stress hormone, you could use clary sage to help balance. And then I am also like obsessed with like literal sage, right? And so if you ever want to use, this is kind of a side note, not especially related to autoimmune disease, but I use clary sage as like a smoke-free smudge. If you're ever, traveling or someone around you doesn't like smoke, you can use the clary sage. I usually mix it with lemongrass and purify for a smoke-free smudge, but it's great on its own as well, and has really good benefits for the hormones. And then thyme oil. Thyme oil is progesterone balancing, and so I use this and the clary sage bottoms of my feet in order to support balanced, healthy hormone function. And then the basil essential oil is one that I've been using more recently and trying out for adrenal support. So I put it on the base of my neck for adrenal support, or I also will put it directly on my adrenals. Your adrenal glands are almond-shaped little, they sit on top of your kidneys, and they're almond-shaped, and they're right below your, like where your ribs kind of end on your back. So oftentimes if you have pain there, you may also be experiencing some sort of adrenal dysfunction. And when we have adrenal dysfunction, we feel really worn out, tired. The full-blown adrenal burnout is an autoimmune disease, which is called Addison's disease. But often people have more like variations or stages of adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue, or HPA axis dysfunction, which is hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which you can DM me about if you want to learn more, because I love that kind of stuff, but we won't go into it today. My point is that basil can help support your adrenals, so I put it on the base of my neck. Two more that I use, so just for anxiety throughout the day, preventative, and also if I feel like I'm, in a place where I feel like I'm going to have an anxiety or panic attack, I use Balance. Balance is the grounding blend. When our literal energy is not balanced, and we have too much of a positive charge in our bodies versus a negative charge, Earth gives off negative charge, and the negative charge is what helps us feel grounded. When we have too much of that positive charge, we can feel really off. And so I really like this Balance for helping to ground the body. I diffuse this one, I apply it to my wrists, I kind of rub it over my whole body, really. There's not like a wrong way, I feel like, to use this. It's not for internal use. And then lastly, I use Serenity in my diffuser next to my bed as I'm getting ready for bed, and then when I go to sleep, I just leave it on for about 3 hours. And it's the Restful Blend, again, really good supporting blend to help promote sleep. As you have all probably heard before, sleep is also another essential part of health. It's when we rest and when we repair, when our body is able to do all of its maintenance and our metabolizing of fats, among other things. So getting that good sleep can be really, really important to health. Okay, so that's like 15 plus products that I use every day. And it might seem like a lot, but just think about all the products that I've been able to throw away and all the toxins that I've been able to get out of my life. And I personally, this is my testimonial, not telling you guys to do this, but I stopped taking all of my anxiety medications as well. I had more of a as needed panic attack medication that I was on, and I don't use that anymore. So you're able to reduce a lot of other things when you do start to incorporate the oils and natural solutions into your life and into your healing path with autoimmune disease. So, any questions so far? Does anyone have any questions? I hope this is helpful so far. Okay. I just wanted to go through a couple other things. That's how I use the essential oils, but, did someone have a question? Did someone unmute themselves? Okay. If you do, feel free to jump in. So I want to go back for a second to how autoimmune disease presents itself in the body. And I truly believe that there is both a physical and an emotional component to all of disease, and that we can use the oils in amazing ways for these physical components, right? Helping us support or get to the root of the disease, right? So maybe the root of your disease is parasite. You have a parasite in your body, and so you could use anti-parasitic oils. Some examples of anti-parasitic oils are oregano, grapefruit, and clove. Okay, maybe the root of the autoimmune issues are really bacterial overgrowth or SIBO. There's a lot of anti-inflammatory oils, but some of them are ginger, rose, myrrh, frankincense. okay? Or maybe the root of the issues that you're experiencing, symptoms you're experiencing, are inflammation. There's anti-inflammatory oils like, I think I just mixed those up. Antibacterial oils were melaleuca, eucalyptus, and lavender. The anti-inflammatory oils are ginger, rose, myrrh, and frankincense. If you're asking me to repeat that, just let me know. But you guys get the point, right? There's anti-parasitic oils, there's antibacterial oils, there's anti-inflammatory oils, among many others that help us get to these physical symptoms and the root of these symptoms that we're experiencing. But I believe that symptoms are really our body's way of communicating with us and telling us to pay freaking attention to them and allowing us to really see what we can't physically see inside of our bodies. It's kind of like this little like mayday, red flag, here we are, something's off in the body, and we're trying to help you. We're trying to show you that something is imbalanced. And so I love the oils for symptom relief in the short term, right? Things like putting the digestion on the stomach when you have bloat, because that helps a lot. But I also like using them to support the root of our issues long term, like things like bacterial overgrowth in the body. So there's this whole physical component, but then there's this emotional side as well. And this is really, I think, where a lot of people get stuck. They go to the doctor and the doctor gives them these physical remedies. The doctor doesn't give you emotional remedies. And so maybe you or someone you know has changed your diet and your lifestyle, and you aren't feeling any better, but you're eating 100% organic, clean foods, right? I see that all the time. And that's where I often come in and I start to help them peel back those layers in their body, because there's these answers that lie in a deeper sense of healing. And our body carries the energy of the past until we choose to let it go. So I just wanted to share two more things today as far as how I use some of these oils to start to surface some of the emotional healing, bring it to the surface, and then allow it to dissolve, to be released, in order to promote healing on a more holistic and energetic level for clients, especially, again, if you are doing everything, quote, right, and still not feeling better. It's really time to consider the emotional side of healing. So one way I do that is through EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping. And tapping is a really cool way to rewire your brain and your hypothalamus. And we have parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. When we're in the sympathetic, we're in fight or flight, in like active, whereas when we're in parasympathetic, that is the only way our body can heal, is when we're in parasympathetic mode, and that's more of this rest and digest mode. And so we may have triggers, stress triggers, trauma triggers, or even PTSD, or just chronic low-grade stress in our lives, because life is stressful. And when we experience one of those triggers, our body goes into sympathetic mode. Tapping brings us back into parasympathetic. And so it has its own magic in its own right, but I like to pair it with essential oils to really enhance that experience for my clients and for myself and my healing. And so what I'll do is tapping, I don't really have time to explain the whole thing right now, but you tap on the energy meridian endpoints of your body. They're your inner eye, your outer eye, under your nose, chin, chest, armpit like a monkey, and top of your head. You go through that as you're speaking and confronting some of the emotional stressors or traumas or concerns in your life. And the way that I incorporate oils, so for example, I don't know that you could use frankincense would be a really good one, actually, because it's the oil of truth, right? Oil of truth. And so that could help you bring up, your inner truth. And what I would do is I would just take a drop or two and I would put it on my chest, okay, and rub it in. And then as I was tapping on all those points, one of the points is your chest, and so you could tap that into your body, or you have what's called your thymus, and your thymus is kind of that hard plate on your chest, and it activates T cells in your body, helps your immune system function in a more effective way. And so when you tap on your thymus, but especially with the essential oils, you get this added benefit of, whichever oil you choose. You can use any oil that's in line with your intention for that emotional healing. I use Elevation a lot, which is our Joyful blend. I love that one and started using that one. Balance, the grounding blend would be a great one to use to tap on your thymus and do EFT tapping. So that's one way I use the oils for more on an emotional healing level. And then, sorry, I was just checking that my video was good. One other way that I see a question. Can you please repeat which oils are anti-inflammatory, bacterial, etic? Yeah, I think I messed that up for you guys, didn't I? I'm happy to repeat them. Antibacterial are Melaleuca, aka tea tree, eucalyptus, and lavender. And then the anti-inflammatory are ginger, rose, myrrh, frankincense, and these are just some, this is not an all-inclusive or exclusive list. And then anti-parasitic are oregano, grapefruit, and clove. Okay? All right. Yeah, put any other questions in the chat box. Last thing I want to share with you is probably my favorite, and then we'll wrap up here. And so oftentimes we experience or have experienced some sort of trauma, some sort of emotional pain. Either it stacks up in our life because we don't address the things, or maybe something big happened in your life that really still affects you on a day-to-day basis. And our body carries this energy, as I mentioned before, and so oftentimes that pain is held in our heart chakra and in our physical organ of the heart. And so I recently learned this in a training that I'm in, and it's called the Heart Healer Protocol. And I think you guys really like this, whether you're new or veteran to oils. So you can do this to your clients or to even like in a wellness consult if it was one-on-one with someone who's new to oils, or you can do it on yourself. But there's really a lot of power in human touch, so it's really fun to do to other people. But again, you can do it to yourself as well. So the first oil or first step is with lemongrass. Lemongrass is the oil of cleansing. All you do with this first step is inhale. So you'll just hold the lemongrass. I didn't grab all these oils, but you'll hold the lemongrass up to your nose and just inhale. So you're cleansing your energy to begin, or you're holding it up to that person or having them inhale the lemongrass to cleanse their energy. Okay. Next, you take 2 drops of lemon and massage it onto the bottoms of the feet. You can dilute it with the fractionated coconut oil first. But again, step 2, 2 drops of lemon, bottoms of your feet. Lemon is the oil of focus, and you would just send your energetic intentions of love and light either for yourself or for the person that you're doing this with. Third step is 2 drops of geranium on the area of the heart, just where I put that frankincense a second ago. And geranium is the oil of love and of trust. And you would just rub it over your heart center, and when you rub it on your heart center, you're also going to get some of that aroma as well, again bringing in love, trust, like that sense of safety for your heart. Step 4 is 1 drop of sandalwood or frankincense, whichever you have. Sandalwood being the oil of sacred devotion, frankincense the oil of truth, as I mentioned before. This one's a little more complicated, but you can all do it. So you'll take just 1 drop, and I like to just kind of like put it between my fingers, and you'll start in your unibrow area, and then you start to pull the oil up towards the hairline or top of your head, and then you'll pull the oil down over your temples, and then you'll release. Okay, you can kind of like rub your temples for a second if you want, and then you release. Okay, so you do that 3 times, taking the sandalwood up, hairline, down, release, starting unibrow, up, hairline, down, release 3 times. And again, this oil, whether you use sandalwood, sacred devotion, or frankincense, oil of truth. Step 5, are we on step 5? I think so. You'll take either, again, you have a choice here, balance, the oil of grounding, which we discussed, or forgive. Forgive, I feel like I have like extra love after going to convention because they mentioned forgive so much in the studies that they were doing, the research that they were doing as far as its emotional benefits. So forgive is the oil of renewing. And oftentimes we need to forgive ourselves or forgive others in our lives in order to open up to healing autoimmune. And there's kind of this common theme as well amongst autoimmune clients which is that we're really hard on ourselves and we tend to be perfectionists. And so this oil, I highly suggest the Forgive in this sense, in that we need to just like let ourselves be human. But you'll take Balance or Forgive and apply it to the back of your neck, okay? And you can, if you're doing it to someone else, you can start at the base of their neck and rub it down their spine between their shoulders. If you're doing it to yourself, it's a little bit trickier. So you could either just do the base of your neck, or you could try to get down your back a little bit, more like the back of the heart space, okay? Step 6 is either a drop of wild orange, oil of abundance, or peppermint, the oil of a buoyant heart. Sorry, not or, both. A drop of wild orange and peppermint, and you put that on the back of each of your knees, okay? Our knees provide stability in our lives, groundedness, direction, moving forward, and so you put that wild orange and peppermint, 1 drop each, on the back of your knees, kind of like at the top of your calf, in order to provide that way forward as well. And then lastly, step 7, you could take 1 drop of lavender, which is the oil of communication, and apply it to your earlobes. So again, you can do this to somebody else, or you can do it to yourself, but you'll just kind of massage the lavender into your earlobes, and this is again the oil of communication. So that whole protocol is the heart healer, helping us heal our heart and any sort of pain, resentment, frustration, forgiveness, etc. So that's it. Do you guys have any questions? I'm happy to talk about any specific issues that any of you may be dealing with, or you have clients that are dealing with. But I love the oils in my practice, and starting to share and introduce people to oils and all of their magic. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure presenting to you today. I hope you learned a little something that you can use in your life.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.